Let's find out more on the actual process of these prisoners, the Palestinian prisoners, Cal, that are being released this Tuesday. Just to walk us through the process, if you may.
Well, keep in mind that these prisoners, these 477 individuals, have been going through identity checks and health checks from the Red Cross for the past 24 to 48 hours anyway, and that is not only continuing this morning, but they're now being moved into staging areas from the two prisons inside Israel that they were moved to in the past day or two, and that's what we've been witnessing so far this morning in the early morning hours, are these buses moving really into staging areas to take prisoners either into the occupied West Bank or into Gaza. Now, while that's going on, of course, the Gilad Shalit family is waiting for word in central Israel, and it's going to be a bit of a sort of blackout period for the media here until we hear from the Israelis that Gilad Shalit is alive and well in Gaza, and that's only going to be confirmed through an Egyptian mediator and a member of the Red Cross who will meet Gilad Shalit in Gaza. Once that happens, 27 female prisoners will be released, and that's probably how we will know that Gilad Shalit is in good health, that he's in good condition, and that he's making his way to Egypt. Once he's in Egypt, he's expected to be there for minutes, according to the Israeli media, which is reporting this morning that the Israeli army, not surprisingly, wants to keep him in Egypt for as short a time as possible before getting him back here to Israel. So the swap deal has begun, and it's begun really with this massive logistical effort that you're seeing on your screen, with these movement of these more than 400 Palestinian prisoners to either the occupied territories or to Egypt or to Gaza. And keep in mind, some of the prisoners that will go to Egypt, there will have to be follow-up logistics. 40 of them will end up in countries overseas.
Yeah, Cal, obviously the whole process very choreographed, as you're saying. But in the bigger picture of things, how many stages are there in this entire prison swap deal that we saw between Israel and Hamas?
Well, it depends on how you draw it up. I've sort of personally drawn it up on my notes as there's 11 phases that it's going to take really to get Gilad Shalit all the way home in the north. Keep in mind, he's going to travel first to Egypt. He will be there for what's being speculated as little as 15 to 30 minutes. Then he's going to go back into southern Israel, where he's going to be handed, we believe, the original cell phone that he had on him more than 5 years ago to phone his mother, who will be waiting for him on a base in the center of the country. And keep in mind, a lot of these locations, and when I say the center of Israel, I'm saying that because a lot of this is being held closely by the Israelis as operational security. This is an unprecedented, in many ways, military operation. He will then go to that base in central Israel, where he will, for the first time, see his family. And then if he it does well in all of these medical checks, he'll then head north to northern Israel. Now, those 477 prisoners, the Palestinian prisoners, they will be released en masse, really, from all of these various entrance points, be it into Gaza, be it into Egypt, or be it into the occupied territories, once Gilad Shalit is confirmed having crossed back into Israel. And we could still be hours away from that. Keep in mind the size of this operation. Not surprising that it started before the sun was even up today.
Yeah, all right. Cal Perry, thank you very much for that update from Jerusalem. Thank you, Cal. Let's cross over and find out what's happening in Gaza. Nicole Johnston is joining us from there. Nicole, what's happening where you are?
Well, similar to Israel, it's very much a closed media situation here. Hamas is controlling the situation to a great extent. It has more than 100 journalists packed onto a bus in Gaza City at the moment, preparing to drive them down to Rafah. Now, we're even surprised that Hamas has decided to allow journalists into the Rafah border crossing area, because for the last couple of days they said that would be a closed military area, but they've now decided to allow journalists there. We're not really getting any information from Hamas about timing, about when they expect the prisoners to start to cross, about when they will release Shalit, how many prisoners they want to see back in Gaza, on the soil of Gaza, before they start to hand Shalit over. All of that information is being kept very quiet, very top secret. However, some sources close to Hamas have told us that there are 3 planes currently in Cairo, from Qatar, from Turkey, from Syria, waiting to take those Palestinian prisoners who are being deported abroad as part of the prisoner swap deal. And of that, there's about 40 prisoners who will be sent out of Israel-Palestine will have to live abroad.
Nicole, as you're speaking, I believe we're looking at live pictures just outside the Israeli Katziut prison, where a lot of those prisoners had been held. And, of course, Katziut prison in Naqab, and that's near the Egyptian border. Nicole, just tell us how Gaza itself, how the people, how the families that are going to be receiving these Palestinian prisoners, how is Gaza preparing for today, Nicole?
Obviously in Gaza there's been a great deal of excitement, but as well as anxiety. We've spoken to a lot of the prisoners' families over the last few days, and they've been preparing their houses, preparing their rooms, receiving guests, receiving delegations from Hamas. So there's certainly an air of celebration in Gaza. As for Hamas's plans with the Palestinian prisoners, we know that they will be received at the Rafah border crossing around the departure hall area, where we hope to be broadcasting live from sometime in the next 1 or 2 hours. From there, they will be bussed into Gaza City, and we're told that there'll be a bit of a stop-off along the way, maybe a drive past a couple of key sites in Gaza. From there, they'll be taken to one of the main squares in Gaza, where Hamas has been setting up for a large celebration for the last couple of days. There's a big stage set up. There'll be speeches by deposed Palestinian Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh, as well as one of the leading Hamas prisoners who is going to be released, Yahya Sinwar. So that celebration won't be very long. We're told that it'll be maybe half an hour to 1 hour, because really Hamas wants these prisoners to be able to get back to their families, to see people. They will have had a very arduous kind of journey, so not a huge rally, but certainly on the streets of Gaza there are a lot more flags of Hamas and the other Palestinian factions, and also the families have been setting up tents outside of their houses to receive guests who will be congratulating them today.
All right, Nicole Johnston, we'll leave it there for now, but Nicole, thank you very much for the time being.